It's KShedd, Uncuffed. About to start this off. And guess what, everybody? As we move forward, KShedd Uncuffed episode number 15 is going down in the great city of Lost Vegas? Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to say that. I really didn't. I meant to say it the correct way, which is Las Vegas. To some people, I say Vago here and there just to kind of cut time. Everybody knows what's happening out there in the desert, man. Las Vegas. So that's where I'm at right now. Flew in yesterday, and then I'm staying tonight, and then I'll be flying back tomorrow morning, which would be Wednesday. Head back out to the Bay. The reason why I'm down here actually is kind of a cool deal. So we all know we got a film project called Iowa's Finest, and that's set to start shooting in June. If everything goes right, there's still some considerations, and we have a hard deadline of if everything's not in place by May 20th, we're gonna have to push it back. That's just the way the movie business works. But we know if we do have to push it back, we know 100% that everything will be in place at that later time. But I'm a pressure guy. I believe in last minute type Hail Mary passes and stuff. And we'll see what happens. But that's one project we have going on. I've always felt like it was necessary to focus on one project only. But then all of a sudden I got this crazy pitch from a couple people to help set up this MMA fight. There's a number one fighter in Vietnam who we have an opportunity to bring out from Vietnam out here to the States and get him established out here and build himself a name and a following. I mean, it sounds like he's has a big following anyway, but overseas. But we want to make that happen out here in the States. So that's what I'm doing. And guess what? I have a lot of connections out here in Vegas where I've been able to tap into, and they've been helping me find the perfect location and casino to have this fight. And so that's my job. And at the same time, I said, you know what? I'm a movie maker. Let's document this whole thing. And guess what? We're going to call it something funny, like not funny, but just kind of cool. We're going to call it the next Dana White. How about that, y'all? So that's what I'm doing. It's going to be really good script idea filled with entertaining, characters and stuff. But at the same time, we're going to be promoting something that's very, very critical. The bringing together of two different countries, Vietnam and the United States, for a fantastic cause, and so far it's been very, very fun and engaging. I've been meeting a bunch of several nice and very down to earth and just well-rounded people out here in Vegas, and I'll explain to you guys who those guys are as we go. I don't want to spill too much of the beans and stuff like that, but during my years of making films, we've done 6 short films before today, and not one of them has made a god dang penny. So I always get a bad time. I can't even count the number of people who are all like, I don't know, this is just a hobby, or you know what, you're just wasting your time. You've had way too many years and you haven't made any money from it. And that gets hard to hear after a while. And so I came up with the idea of the next Dana White project to highlight the MMA fight we plan on setting up. And I can tell you something, this is actually the first opportunity that I can see very clearly of a film of ours making money. And that's quite exciting. We have a great team around us. And we're just going to keep pushing forward. There's many different things that we have to set up. But if all goes well, we'll shoot our film Iowa's Finest in June. And then we'll bounce right back and we'll make this fight happen in Vegas in July, maybe late July, early August. And if I pull this one off, man, there's this video that I saw from that highlighted Chadwick. I always say his name the wrong last name, but he played Black Panther. And as they were about ready to do Black Panther 2, a news reporter a columnist or whatever asked him a question. It's like, hey, are you getting ready to do Black Panther 2? And he said, no, I'm dead. And she's like, oh no, wait, you're way too young to be dead. And he's like, no, I'm serious, I'm dead. And she's like, that can't be true. He's like, well, it's true. And it was taken obviously while he was still around, and he looked good. Nothing looked off or anything like that, and he responded so quickly. Almost, it was almost as if he was joking and making just keeping things light and stuff. But it was a short period after that he ended up passing away. So, I mean, it's just life is so precious and stuff like that. So people always ask me, how come I'm always doing stuff and everything? Is because you only get one shot at this, so I'm going to try to do as much as I can before my time comes. And if I left this world today, I can honestly say that I lived, I had fun. I've done some crazy stuff and experienced many different things that a lot of people out there won't have the ability or opportunity to experience. And obviously, if I left this world today, I won't be able to do some of the things that are dad's rights, like to be able to walk your daughter down the aisle of her wedding, watch your grandkids as they kind of grow up and all that stuff. And I've been married for 20 years. It's obviously everybody's goal to get to that year 50, and all those different things would change, but I would feel good about what I've done so far in this world. Do I have any regrets and stuff like that? Let me see. If I go back and I think about a police officer. In football, obviously there was a regrets. I wish there were some passes that I didn't let go through my hands and stuff, because those were critical times where, I might have set myself up big. The regrets on the police officer. As police officers, I really don't have very many regrets. If I were to think about as a police officer, if I have any regrets, you guys would be tripping if I told you, which I'm going to. So, if I think about any regrets that I have as a police officer, the only thing I can think of, and it's not funny actually, I'm slapping myself for laughing at that. When I get nervous, sometimes I'll throw that out there like that. But the only regret, one of the biggest regrets I have as a police officer was one time I got sent to what they call an unattended death call. So anytime someone passes away or becomes deceased, in foul play type situations and stuff, obviously the police are called, and they get there and they determine if it's number one, like a homicide. Obviously there's steps that have to go fall into place. If that's the case, you call the detectives and they come in and they do their investigations and they go out to try to find the killer. And then if it's like a accidental drowning or something like that, then you call the coroner, and the coroner comes out and they take possession of the body. A lot of times, if you have someone who's not, no suspicious circumstances, and someone who's probably like advanced age and stuff, and there's no signs of anything suspicious, then that's what they call like a unattended death. It's more natural causes. So we as police officers have the ability to you place a call to the coroner, give them all that information, and then they make the decision. Okay, we're not going to come out and take possession of the body because it's a natural causes. So then the next thing that the police officer does is helps the family make contact. Actually, they do the phone calls for them to like a mortuary or a funeral home, and then the funeral home people come and they take possession of the body, and then it's just a beautiful way to you don't have to do autopsies or anything like that. It's just a very respectful way to go off into the next phase of life. So that's it's a beautiful thing, but it's a lot of stress too. Because you're looking at dead bodies, it's very unnatural stuff. And so in this particular case, I go there and the son called from out of state or out of the city or whatever, wanting us to check on his father because they haven't heard from him in a long time. And so There's details in the call, I guess, that would say that the father and family have been kind of estranged for a bit, so no one's really been in contact with them, and so they became concerned. So when I get there, answer or ring the doorbell, no one answers and stuff. So with that, you have to kind of try to find a way to in. If the family member isn't unseen. And so in this particular case, I found like an open window or something like that, and then I was able to get inside, and sure enough, the father was lying on the floor in the kitchen, deceased. So the thing about this, though, is that it had been such a long time since he had passed away that his body wasn't in the best condition. So just picture, someone, lying, not even lying, just sitting down on the floor in the kitchen with his head leaned up against the counters, tilted off to the side and everything. Full head of hair, just a kind of a younger looking guy. But the thing about it was that his skin was discolored and deformed, had lapidity, obviously, just everything that would signal that he was gone, the discoloration that comes with that. So and it was like this weird, like a pattern that would resemble like a snake coloring of a green colored snake. I'm not trying to say he looked like a snake, but I'm just trying to say his skin had that like really off weird design to it that if it's almost like he put on makeup and that was his the design he wanted on his face for Halloween, and it's hard to describe unless you see it. And so as a police officer and you see that, you have this protective mechanism in your brain that kind of shuts down so you can accept stuff like that and you can go about your duties. It's there to protect you, and that's what I needed, obviously, on that particular case. And so then the next thing you do is you have to contact the family members. So when the son showed up, I met him outside, and he's just like, and he just had this look like of anticipation. He's like, and I said, "I'm sorry, sir. He's no longer with us." And he was all upset, and he's like, he didn't cry. He held it together. And I was proud of him for that, but you can kind of tell that it was a situation where there was some tension. Obviously, hasn't heard from his fine family in a while, and the son was like one of the ones who said, "Okay, let's try to see what's going on with our dad. We've known him all our lives," and so that's how I read that. So once he kind of regained his composure, he's just like, "Okay. All right, and what happens now?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to call the coroner, and then I'll give them the circumstances, and then they'll make the determination if they're going to come out or if they're going to release the body to me. And if that's the case, then I'll help you make funeral arrangements and stuff for the funeral home." And he was very appreciative of that. Young cat. He was good in his 20s and stuff like that. He held it together as very well, considering the circumstances. I will give him that. But then he asked me, "Can I go see him?" And it goes back to my biggest regret, because at first I'm just like, no, you don't want to go in there. It's not a good scene. There's liquor bottles all over the place, piled up on everything in the kitchen. You don't want to do that. You wouldn't want to see him like that. So. And he just kind of like, "No, I gotta say goodbye. I haven't seen him in so long. It's been so long. Some things I want to say to him." And I'm just, oh man, he just kind of broke my heart. And I just, the compassion in my heart, obviously everybody has a father and, and their parents, and they raised them. And I'm just kind of like, I just felt awful for denying this kid a chance to be able to say goodbye to his father. So I made a decision to, let him go back into the house, and I stayed outside while he went in there. And when he came out, he had the look of utter shock, and like he had obviously seen something that was so unnerving to him that his face was just frozen, and he was kind of weak in the knees, and just he had to sit down and just kind of put his head down, and he's in shock. I'm just like, and that was tough. That was tough for me, and I his his other family members showed up, and I think that they kind of like walked off on their own thing to kind of figure out, okay, where do we go from here? While I had to kind of, maintain integrity of the scene, make sure no one else really kind of went in. At that point, I wouldn't let anybody else other than either a coroner or the funeral home come on in. And so, so once I made those arrangements, and then everything kind of wrapped up and all that stuff, and the funeral home people came and they removed the body. I left the scene. But I left out of there knowing that I had made probably a bad mistake. It was a big regret of mine letting that youngster go in there and see his father like that. Because to this day, I can't get the vision out of my head. So imagine him. So if I had that to do over again, I would have done it differently. Me being since retired now, those are the type of calls I don't miss at all. And I wish all the police officers out there still busting their butt, keeping the city safe and making sure that people are okay when their loved ones have passed away or they're no longer with us. It's a tough time, but fortunately everybody in this world is going to have to go through it. So I'm gonna turn this mood right back to something fun and cool. There's another reason why I'm happy right now, because I'm in Vegas, and I reached out to a couple of my former teammates, and they reached back to me. Obviously, that's always cool. We may not be able to chance to run into each other before I have to leave to this trip, but I'll be back here soon. But I was able to get a hold of a guy who is such a fantastic person on all levels, and he's going to be able to join us for our episode. So our episode today is going to be dedicated to Mr. Butch, and he is going to be sitting down with us. How I met Butch is that he's a quiet soul, very unassuming, but when I met him, he was actually Al Davis, his personal bodyguard, and his family, so anytime Mr. Davis was going around anywhere, he was always with them. He was in charge of so many different things. When I bring him in, I'm gonna let him kind of tell us a little bit more. I don't want to speak for him. All I can say is this: that if you go to one of the football games and you walk by and everybody's saying, that's Al Davis's box right there. Oh my God, there's posted up around trying to see if they can get a look of the great man and all that stuff. And there you see Butch, with his sunglasses on, his little mustache and everything. And he's not the tallest of guys, but he has that look about him where you make one false move, you're going to get manhandled and in the hospital about a minute or so after that. But he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and I'm about to bring him on board right now. And like I told you guys, I got some interesting guests who I want to incorporate into our show, KShedd Uncuffed. And the fact that we have him here is going to be a blessing. So stand by, y'all, and we will be right back to talk about some Raider stuff. All right? KShedd. KShedd, episode 15. I'm going to wait to name this one because, this is a special episode. As promised, I'm sitting down here with someone who has made such a powerful impression on me, Mr. Butch Enriquez. Like I was saying, I first met him down in Oakland when he was providing security for the Davis family. And just something about him is just kind of like, you look at him, he would be everybody's favorite uncle, but he doesn't tolerate BS. And he takes his job very, very seriously. And so obviously when the team moved from Oakland and are now in Vegas, so this is where Butch lives now. He has a home down in California as well, keeping it real. That's where he's from. Family, raised a family there and all that stuff. So I think that's fantastic that he still keeps his roots there as well. But as I'm looking at this guy looks like the picture perfect individual who's loving life. And let me have you introduce yourself, sir. How you been?
Good. My name is Butch Enriquez from Ventura County in Southern California,
Ventura County, really?
and hometown of Oxnard, California. Originally from San Jose, California.
Originally from San Jose.
Right.
Never knew that. That's where you grew up?
No, at the age of 6, we moved to Ventura County.
Oh, okay. All right. So Virginia, is that a kind of a quiet place?
No, it's a farm working area that's pretty busy.
Oh.
Unbelievable now. I just went there a week ago, and it's like, wow. It's off the charts, but I still went back to my favorite hamburger stand, Mexican bread stand, so it's all good.
It didn't give you heartburn this time, or nothing, did it?
No.
It was just as good as it
surprised,
was,
yeah.
right? So every time you go back, that hamburger place is going to be on the first one
I
on
was
there.
telling the owner, shoot, I remember buying these burgers for 25 cents, and now they're $2.50. Like, what, man?
Come on, seriously?
Come on, yeah.
Would they throw a Coke in there too for
back
free?
in the day, yeah. I had a pass there to go to the boys' club, so that's why I got it.
That's fantastic. I mean, so so originally families from where?
San Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah.
Has that place changed at all?
Oh, San Jose is just off the charts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Both my parents are farm workers. One is from Calexico. My mother's from Big Springs, Texas. And so they migrated down with all the farm workers back in Grapes of Wrath and worked. My mother worked till she was 46 in the fields with my sister on her back.
Wow.
And so we grew up that way. But it was all good. I can't remember any bad times. I mean, we were poor, and you eat beans and rice, and you eat Spam, and I thought it was a big thing, man. So I didn't complain, I didn't cry. At times I would complain. My mother said, well, don't eat. So,
Really?
okay. So I grew up with a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
So you don't want to be hearing anything from any of these new millennials about like how tough life is or anything like that, huh?
No.
They don't get it, right?
No, they don't at all. So I was able to thank the Lord to start working at the age of like 12 years old, man. I was working at where I lived was close to a harbor that I used to go fishing with my buddies down to the harbor. And one day this guy was brought in a sport fishing boat. We're just looking at them, just like kids do. All the fisher brought in the people. And the guy goes, hey, kid, you want a job? I said, what? He goes, yeah, wash my boat. I'll give you $10.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, so shoot, I didn't have no money. I'm going to wash it. So I started doing that. About 2 months later, he goes, I'm going to teach you how to be a bait boy, which means you go out on the ship into the ocean, and I'll pay you $30 a day. So I did that.
A bait boy?
A bait boy. And so
wait, they would throw you out into the ocean?
No, you go with a boat with 50 people on it, and then you start throwing bait out while they're circling around to get the fish to come up. So I said, well, I loved it. I got the fish, do all this and get paid. So
oh my goodness.
During the summer, I did that full time, and then I started. I did that till I was my senior year in high school.
Wow.
I said, because in my mind, this is what I'm going to do for a living. Just do this. I'm not going to work in the fields as a farmer. I'm going to work in the fish. So then I had some buddies that were playing football. I wasn't going to play no football. I was like, come on, go to college with us, JC, just party, and we'll do your homework for you. Okay, let's go. From that day on, I never fished again because I went from there. My buddies that took me dropped out. I knew I got all inspired to finish college. So that's how it started.
So sounds like you've always been the smartest one out of the do you make that your focal point to always kind of think through the situation and make sure that you're standing up when it's all over?
That's right. In fact, that was I grew up with 3 guys that we all went to kindergarten together, and to this day we're still partners.
Oh way.
I lost one last year. Didn't even tell us he was sick, and he's gone.
Oh, no way.
I got one I just visited 2 weeks ago, because now he probably told me he's got cancer. I'm fighting cancer. I'm saying, okay, let's go. So I went and checked him out, and he's in bad shape. But I had to thank him, because he was like the ASB president. For my sophomore, junior, senior year, he was the ASB president of my school. So
wow.
I was never in class, because, hey, Butch Enriquez, come on, we need you at the assembly. So I was out. My other part of that past 2 years ago, he was the kind of guy who could just read a chapter and get an A. That kind of, there's a lot of people like that. So when my homework comes, he goes, give me a book. He would do it, then tell me. That guy pushed me all through high school, because I didn't want to go.
Wow.
I hated high school.
What was the high school you went to?
Wainimi High in Oxnard. But, because when I heard somebody say this morning about this, is that when I went to high school being a Mexican from farm workers, they would say, as you know, when you go your freshman year, you see counselors that say, okay, you're going to take this class and all that. And the lady I went to says, why are you here? I said, why am I here? She goes, Mexicans usually don't go to school, so why are you here? Why aren't you working in the field? So she talked to me just like that. It didn't hurt me. She was saying it was true. And so I said, well, can I leave? She goes, no, you can't do that, but I just want to know, am I wasting my time with you? And so I said, whatever, man. So she gave me the classes, and it was a hallway with all the doors open for all the counselors because they were just cranking kids out. And so I started walking away. About 3 doors down, this Hispanic man comes out the door and grabs me. He goes, son, don't listen to that bullshit. You can make it. You don't need to be a farm worker. So even when this guy told me that, I said, well, it didn't turn me on. The light didn't turn on. I said, okay, well, thanks. And I kept going. And then my partner, the ASB president, told me was a black dude. The other dude, the white dude that could read, was a white dude. So we're like the mod squad, man. As we're walking around. I said, man, don't listen to that shit. We're going to get through. Sure enough, they pushed me through. So that's how it happened.
Okay. You guys balanced each other out quite well?
Exactly. And we're all fatherless. So we all had no fathers. So we relied on each other. So it was all good. Just even, I was telling my partner that's dying with cancer now, I said, remember when we didn't have no dads and we were playing Little League? And one of my partners got hurt. Instead of the parents running out to the field stuff, all 3 of us ran to the kid.
No way. That's
you
beautiful.
Okay? Because we're partners, man. Like, we're used to fight together and shit. Like, no, we get they're sure. The parents will get out of here. Don't do it. And we're like, hey, is he okay? So,
oh man,
those are big memories, man. But we don't need a dad. We had each other, so it was all good.
We were talking earlier, Butch, about kind of like your thoughts on that. You that means a lot to you that you're there for your family and your kids.
Yeah. That's why I spoil my granddaughters, man, and a grandson. That's just people are like, you're just wait. No, I'm not. It's just something I didn't have. They got. I even relate to them. Let me run this story by you. Is that having an absent dad, I saw him in the community. He was an alcoholic. He was in and out of prison and jail. And when I had orders to go to Vietnam, and I went and found him to some friends. Say, hey, have you seen my dad? They said, I think he's over at so-and-so's house in the back. So I went and found him. I actually found him in the backyard on the couch, just all wiped out. This was like on a Wednesday. I'm getting married Saturday. So I got him, I cleaned him. I said, listen, man, you're going to walk my mother down the aisle. After that, I don't give a crap what happens to you, but you're going to respect her this day. Do you know that after that wedding, he never drank again?
No way.
And then he always worked, but he spent his money on somewhere else, not on us. He went to work, got the check, got my mother out of the projects, got her a house, got her a car she never had. And so, that happened. So, I mean, it didn't turn me on, oh, I love you, Dad. It wasn't that kind of thing. Till I had a kid, when I had my first son, my father started treating him like a grandpa would treat a kid. From that, I got healed by seeing the dude had something in it. You're not healing me, but I can see that you're a good dude, man. So that story, unbelievable. Man.
That is unbelievable. Yeah. I did not see any of that coming. Yeah, I thought you were gonna honestly. I thought you were gonna say that. Would you believe it? He didn't even show up.
Oh no, because I got him. I took him to a hotel, got him a tux, got him a shower, went and make sure he was there every morning and dinner for. And he was just trying to, save.
You saved his life.
Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness, Butch, you have this power about yourself, and people who weren't around the Raiders. I'm sorry, I'm not crying that I missed the LA days as a Raider. But I was obviously there in Oakland, and I could see everything so special out here in Vegas. But when I was in Oakland, the family, the dimensions of the Raiders, and even now, obviously, are so strong that it was almost like you were surrounded by uncles, cousins, and just kind of like people watching over you left and right. And, but you've always had that ability to make sure that people are keeping their heads straight. I mean, you see people come and go. Right. I mean, and that's what I was going to ask you. I'm like, how did you get hooked up with the Raiders in the first place?
Well, it's the right place at the right time for one. Back when I was like only 23, I got hired as a deputy because I was when I came back from service. I had nephews, young nephews, so I started working at the boys club because I grew up in the boys club, and just started, being a referee, just keeping an eye on the kids and stuff. And then one day, a probation officer came through looking for some kids. So I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Man, what are you doing working here, man? Come work at juvenile hall, man." Back then, like $15 an hour was big money.
Yeah.
I said, "I'll think about it, man." So I go, and I started working. I was only there 1 month when EOP was in play, equal opportunity for everybody, for us colored people,
Don't okay.
So they say, "Hey, we want to make you a deputy." I've only been there with the hall 1 month, being a security guy, and because I was bilingual, so they're trying to get their points by hiring me. So it didn't bother me. Come on, I grew up that way. That wasn't hard.
You just accepted it, right?
So okay, so I got there, and I was blessed to have the supervisor, white dude, real good dude, man. He tells me about a month after being a deputy, because they thought I had other probation officers telling me, looking at me real silent, looking at me cross-eyed, and like, telling me up front, man, like, you ain't gonna make it here, man. Like, okay, I'm not, man, but I'm just here for this minute. You want me to go now? So this counselor the supervisor had says, look, he dropped me and goes, look, your days are numbered here, because they're just trying to get their quota to show the government that, hey, we got 4 Mexicans working out of 200 agents, 200 deputies. And so there was only one black dude. And so I said, what? He goes, but I'm going to push you through, man. I'm going to help you as much as I can. I'm going to take a lot of shit for you. I don't know why, but every time I interviewed you, you're right up with me, you're straight up with me, so I don't get a problem with you. That man pushed me through, man. And even the assistant to the department, I came in to get promoted to a different office. And the chief was right next to his office, and the door was open. So the assistant tells me, Butch, we appreciate what you've done and stuff, but there's no room for you here.
You knew it was coming, huh?
I said, yeah, okay. Do I go back to the hall working? If you want to do that, go ahead. So I took 2 steps out the door, and the chief of the department came out and goes, he looked at the guy and says, how dare you talk to that guy that way? You're not going to do that again to anybody else. And he tells me, Butch, come to my office. He tells me, anybody talks to you that way, they're done. And so I want you to go over here. And from that point on, so I was a deputy for 12 years. I did that, and then I got...
What was this chief's name?
So after 12 years with the department, I did 8 years with juveniles, because my heart was with kids.
Yeah.
And doing the gangs and stuff, but when I was first learning it from older men, it seems like the Molo guys hated kids. I'm saying, what the hell are you doing here if you hate kids? It's a job, it's a job. But after 8 years working with kids, I felt like I'm starting to get that way, man. So I need to get out there and not connect with kids anymore. And at the time, I was working as a youth pastor for 6 years full time too.
Pastor, nice.
And so the connection with that is that there was 4 high schools in my district, and the kids that were in my youth group, which were like 60 strong, they all had different schools. So I knew who beat up who and who broke up with who, and what the problems were for this first church. But anyway, from that I got promoted to state, deal with adults. So I said, let me go that way, man, because you can cut and dry. You do what I tell you, or go back to prison. So.
Now, is this Oxnard?
Oxnard, yeah.
Oh my goodness! Because the reason why I wanted to say that to everybody listening out, because Oxnard, that's synonymous with the Raiders, where they were, training camp. That's where training camp it was at the time. It's kind of a strange name. I'm sorry, Oxnard, but and it's so mind blowing to see that you were right there growing up with the team. And then, but you were still being a deputy, and then
I was being a probation officer with that, and then I also was having side jobs with the private investigator. Back in the day when I was younger, I said, let me get a business going, so when I retire, it'll be ready. So I got that rolling back then, but I was working. So I got all the security jobs for all the hotels. I was staying at the Hilton one time, working there security. And the manager came to me and says, hey, Butch, I want to introduce this Raider guy, blah, 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 because he had gone, John Herrera had gone to UCSB, which is off the hook, man, just right on the water. It's just an awesome college. So they thought about going there. So he had stopped at Oxnard to look around. There was no fields at that Hilton. There was nowhere where he's going to put a stadium or training. I didn't see it. And so he introduced me, so big deal. Okay, John Herrera, thanks, man. I didn't, I wasn't into football. I was a young man with a family trying to work, not sports. So.
Care less about that, right?
So about 2 weeks later, he comes to me and says, "Hey, how'd you like to have a security job for this? I think I'm going to put a spot here." I said, "Oh, sure, okay, I'll take it."
Wow.
So at the time, there was an empty field behind the hotel, and he built a training facility, like in 2 weeks, man, because at the time, Oxnard was the capital of turf.
Capital of turf?
Yeah. And so,
that's where it first came from?
Yeah. And so they just rolled that shit in overnight, man. Just like, damn, there's a field there. So
really?
That's how I got that job, and they were there for 2 years. And then they went to the Radisson, where the Cowboys are out even now, And so we went over there. It's the first time I was able to, because I didn't go to El Segundo at that time. I just stayed at the training camp. So when we got to that new facility, then that's the first time I met Al Davis, because he came through us. I knew who he was from the sports. I didn't know him personally. So he would come by. He was very busy, always looking notes and stuff. He wasn't just walking around, waving at people. So he came in. He would say hi to me, and that's how it all started.
That's how it all started.
Yeah.
Wow. Did he put you through some?
1985.
1985. 1985. Did he put you through any type of tests, like these mental things that you don't think he's trying to check you out, but he actually is?
No, he didn't put me through that. I think my problem, I did that from 1985 till we went to Napa in 1995, and I was still in charge of all security. I handled 32 guys, during camp, and
wow.
To me, you just did it. But I was still with him full time. So when they told me in 1995, Butch, we want you to start watching Mr. Davis. They didn't tell me that all those other years. They said, we want you to watch Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
And I said, what? Yeah, we want you to do that. You're going to travel with us. You're going to do all that. I'm thinking, oh, okay, cool. So I get to him, and he says, look, kid, number one, Mr. Davis never had security. Never. He says, oh, man, I'll kick your ass my own self. He's not scared of nobody. And
he's like, that's not a stunt man in those movies. That's me. I'll kick your ass.
He, Van Adder and Farmer, who's the investigators of the O.J. Simpson case, would see him on game day at the Coliseum. They would security him. They weren't his bodyguards. They were just there for him during the game, and after the game, then they're back to being PD. And so I met them because when I was working as a parole agent in San Francisco, we did a murder case together. One of my guys had murdered somebody, so they
One of
my guys had murdered somebody from L.A., but he moved up to the Bay Area, and so they trailed the guy, and they said, "Hey, this is what we got, man. We think the dude did it. Here's the evidence. We want to go in the house because they're just going to break in because you got to have some evidence to break in the house." I said, "Let's go." So we went to the dude's pad, and they found the body up in Napa, man, up in the hills and stuff, man. So
wow.
From that point on, that's why I got to meet these two guys, because they told me, yeah, we know how, we did blah, blah, okay, well, cool. But so I never got any training. I never got even these two
any
guys.
training. You just go.
So Mr. Davis says, listen, they want you around me and stuff, and I'm not for it, but I can't turn against them. But so just stay your distance, and that's cool. So I learned how to shadow him from afar. If I saw anything, but I never did, because he would look at me, and then I keep following until he's okay, well, I'm good. And then as the years went by, because 95 until he'd gone, I was with him full time.
Full time.
10 years, I lived with him for 10 years. And
wow.
he just, people ask me the same thing, what stories you got? The biggest story I got is the one story I got is that we're playing the Eagles. So after the game, we got lost in the game, and so we're going to the airport. As teams travel, is that, all the team goes, okay, it's over Terminal 1, it's over Terminal 2, gate so-and-so, so most players go get something to eat, get something to drink, then they go to the plane. So Mr. Davis tells the limo guy, hey, drop us off on the other side. Okay, I don't know why. So we started walking. That side of the terminal was empty, so we're walking, but it's a way to get to Terminal 2 from Terminal 1, so we're walking. Out of nowhere, I see this dude, just bodybuilding dude, start coming at us. Not chasing us, not running at us. He was just taking his time to meet up with us. And so I got a little, my step got a little first to get in between them. And before we got there, Mr. Davis turns on and goes, what the hell do you want? And the guy goes, Mr. Davis, I just want to know, I need a tryout. My name is so-and-so. So Mr. Davis goes, what college you play at? I didn't play college. Well, semi-pro team, I didn't play. You got a tape? No. He goes, when you get all that, come back to me. At that point, the guy was happy to get it, and he just walked away. You know, it's like, wow.
Just like that.
And Mr. Hayes looks at me like, what do you think was going to happen, Butch? I said, I don't know. I thought I was going to tag up. How are you going to get this dude? I said, I was going for his legs, man. I didn't know what else to do. But
Mr. Davis turned around. I was like,
yeah. Just, I don't know.
Unwavering, huh?
Yeah, because he had his head down writing while I'm following him, and all of a sudden, boom, he just, what the hell do you want, man? Like, wow.
Unbelievable. Yeah. See, that's how the legend of Al Davis just came from many different ways. I saw Mr. Davis when I was doing an interview with a reporter out in Oakland. This guy came in. I can't even remember his name, but we're talking, and he's asking me about the quick stride offense, and I can talk about it because I'm surrounded by James Jedd.
Yeah.
They may throw in James Trapp for some type of go route at that time, and James Trapp was Olympian as well. So I'm surrounded by these guys, you know. Rocket Ishmael at the time. Yeah. Actually, I took his spot though. But I was surrounded by these guys.
Right.
So he's asking me about the quick strike offense, and just as I'm about to answer, Mr. Davis came around the corner and he stopped and he looked at this reporter guy, and he was about to walk past, and then he backtracked and he stepped back over and he looked directly at the guy. He's like, "Hey, how's life?" And he's like, "Oh, it's good, Mr. Davis. It's really good." And he's like, "Are you sure? Because I read this article you wrote about me and my team the other day that I thought was very unfair, just kind of," and I'm like, and let me tell you something. I control everybody, all you guys who come in here, and I'm going to make sure that your director knows that you're not allowed to go in here and talk to my players anymore because of the way you came at us.
Yeah.
And he just ripped this guy apart. And then he says, Mr. Davis is like, now you have a good day. I'm going to have a good rest of my day. I'm surrounded by good people, but I don't expect to see you here with us anymore.
Right.
And that concluded my interview with this guy. He put together his stuff, and he broke down crying and scooted out of there like that.
Wow.
You know, I mean, and just life continued on after that. So it's amazing. And you know, Butch, I wanted to spend that moment with you too, because when we were talking about Al Davis, I think we both kind of got all choked up. So he is missed. You know, and you know,
regard what, you know, people go, really, I always ask him, what is he really like? He's just the way I said, no, man, the guy is a historian. He loves history, loves music. I mean, the first time he asked me, like, you know what the real funk music is, Butch? I thought he was just kidding, just throwing some crap at me. He says, sure, I do. What do you know about Rick James? He tells me. I said, what? What you know about Rick James?
He said, really? He knows all about Rick James?
Yeah, so then he used to tell me, you know, because I was at the house many times when you'd bring Jerry Butler in this house just to hang out, just sing right there in this house and stuff, man. Like, damn. So,
that's real funk right there.
Yeah, he's all that, man. But and I tell people, a lot of times, all those years when we used to, at the beginning, go out to eat at away games, right? And I don't care where it was. One time we were in Tennessee, and we walked into like a Red Lobster kind of thing. Place was packed. They got a table for him, so I go sit him down with his friends. Then I walk out and sit outside until they're ready, you know. And so I'm sitting outside. These three older ladies come to me, and they tell me, older ladies said, "You tell Mr. Davis we love him. Our husbands are Tennessee fans, but we don't care. We love Al Davis. You tell him that." Okay, I'll tell So those kind of things happen a lot. Okay.
He was a special person.
Oh, yes.
And so I think his son is the second coming of him.
Yeah.
Just a different form.
Yeah,
in his own like way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you had a chance to see everything full circle. What are you thinking about this move to Vegas?
Well, I think it's good for Mark and Mrs. Davis. You know, people forget Mrs. Davis, big part of this thing.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, she's the head executive.
So she's a woman of her own ways. She's very smart. Reads papers every day, so she's real sharp. You know, and she's a people person, man. She loves speaking to people. She has her little group of friends, and touches base with her family's back east, so she doesn't forget anything, man. And she's just trucking along. She okays Mark. I got to tell people, Mark talks to her every day. It's, most sons and daughters don't do that. But he makes it a point every day. He talks to her
every day. And
when he needs to have her out here, she's out here with him, and she's happy. He's happy. I think again, it's been a good move. You'll hear a lot about, well, there's no Raider base out here anymore. Well, because the tickets are too high. Other teams come in and take more. I just talked to a couple from Kansas City, man. I was at the Mandalay after a game, visiting some friends, and they're all, it's packed with Kansas City fans. And all the guys, all the women were in the back saying, the only reason we're here is because we love Vegas. We don't give a crap about Kansas City, but we're here for Vegas. So
there you
go,
guys.
When the guys are saying from other teams, hey, I'm going to Vegas. Yeah, well, the wives and girlfriends are coming too. So that's all I have. That's why the stadium is crowded,
Well, yeah. And I mean, that's nothing. I mean, it really boils down to, I mean, I'm a former player, and I know 100% I can get away with saying this. If the team's going to be playing like crap, you're going to get like crap out in the stands watching you. Exactly. So you turn that stuff around, and then it's going to, the stadiums is going to be all silver and black. And so no one's really worried about that. They should embrace this opportunity as a wake-up call to say, hey, look, people aren't paying this type of good money to see you lose these games that were easily winnable. So. And so I thank you for giving me sharing that fair take on your thoughts of Vegas and stuff.
It's been good for him and the family. Yeah, it's good for the radio organization. Pretty soon, one of the big things Mr. Davis always just tell me when we go to stadiums throughout the league, and we go to a stadium and he says, "See this place, Butch? Because I had to be right next to him. That's why I can't get no players." Regardless of on the Raiders or not. If a player comes in, looks at the stadium, looks at the locker room, oh God, this is where I want to be, and I don't got that, and I need that,
Yeah.
And so, but he would draw players because he's Al Davis, He would talk to people because and players would know, as you know, if he talks football to you, he knows everything about football. So if you don't answer back right, well, your shit's raggedy. I don't care what position you're at, and he would do it. So
yeah. Well, and so it sounds like you see some very, very big prosperous days coming.
Yeah. They'll turn it around. It's got to. I mean, I'm right with everybody else saying, oh my God, another coach, another, here we go again. We're rebuilding again. We're doing this again. We got to hit it, man. And the day that we hit it, then just keep building like the other teams do. Kansas City didn't get that way. People forget for 10 years they didn't get nothing, right?
Oh, yeah, they were horrible.
The Niners, man, for freaking over 11 years didn't get nothing. And they're good. Well, got to be happy for them because it's finally straighten out.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
That is how it works. So. And sounds like the boat is getting straightened out. And players who kind of go in there and they take stuff for granted. I know Waller. I brought him up before. I can say it. I was very disappointed with how he performed this past year. Yeah. I saw him make some catches that just made no sense for him to get, and then that's what made the game manageable and brought him back into it. So I'm expecting, you get gifted a nice size contract. I'm expecting you to do the same thing you did,
right.
And then the second or third game of the year. The team needed him to come up with a pass, and he puts one hand up there, and it should have been an easy, just two-hand catch.
Yeah.
Made little effort to catch that ball with one hand, and then when the ball was batted kind of up in the air, he made zero effort to go dive or jump up to get it then, and the ball hit the ground, and they ended up losing the game.
Yeah.
So that's personal for me because I was the type of player who would bust his butt to find a roster spot. So if you're talking about a starter who's taking advantage of the system, and I'm not saying Waller was taking advantage of the system. I don't know. He lost his desire to play or something, because it would take the coaching staff threatening to sit that guy down before that some of these starters would start balling, and to me that's not what this is about. So. I'm glad that sounds like that's getting fixed, Butch, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they need to go in that direction, man, because as you say, you can see that players, man.
Yeah.
You can, And he's, come on, the league always said that he was really a wide receiver, not a tight end, because he had all the as a wide receiver.
Exactly.
You know? And here in Vegas, he was a big name in the community.
Yeah.
More than anybody else.
That's
the
what hurts too.
Everything, he did all that, man. So
yeah,
he did his time here, man. He did good, man. But again, we just talked about what you just mentioned. We just have to straighten those kind of things out. Hey,
yeah,
can't keep going that for I just gave you 2 more dimes and you didn't do anything with
it. Team leadership, guys. It's that's what it boils down to. Team leaderships. We were talking about dynasties, and we kind of talk about the Patriots. And the reason why they were as good as they were is they had some badass team leaders, man. They would not tolerate anybody slacking off. So once the team, not the coaches, once the team realizes that it's on them to start policing each other, things are going to be very exciting for that team. So
we go back to LA days when Alzada was playing. I mean, Howie and everybody else just, oh my God. I mean, he would eat people alive. And then you got other younger players trying to you pump them up, man. I mean, you got Cosby doing it. Then you got some people behind him. Well, maybe today I'll be good. Or, well, back in the day, I was able to eat your lunch on your own team, man. So you didn't play. But you need people leadership like that, too. And that's that part of it,
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate your time. In closing, guys, I want to tell you a fantastic story about this legendary gentleman I'm sitting next to. So just to show you how tough he is, every once in a while I'll get caught up in some of the things I got going on. I'm hey Butch, do you know anybody who's into the police officer association? Because I might have a buddy who wants to kind of maybe apply for you or maybe join your team or whatever. Butch would always text me right back. Hey Butch, what are your advice on this and stuff? Should I try this or call this person instead? He'll always give me the right advice and stuff like that. So he's been like a father figure for me. I don't know if that maybe uncle.
Uncle's good.
Uncle. He gave me that look like, hey man, I ain't that old. No, because I'm old. If I'm
old as your grandpa now, but go ahead.
No. Okay, that was my bad. My great uncle. Like I said, he would be everybody's favorite uncle, and you guys could see why. And we got to get him back on the show, but he just to show how tough he is and how he's always there for you. I remember this one particular time I needed something, and so I texted him, and he responded right back, and he's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, Kenny, I'll get right on that, but I'll have to wait till I get out of the hospital because I just had a triple bypass surgery and I'm here in the hospital trying to recover." And I'm just like, what? I felt like the biggest jerk because I didn't even know that. And
I kept it on the low, that's why.
I didn't even know what to say. I felt so bad, but you were such a champ, and you always have been there, not just for me, just for everybody around. He's touched so many people, so I want to pay him back, and I am going to pay him back. I'm down here in Vegas trying to set up some big things, y'all, and all that's going to be filtered back to the people who've always been there for me, and that's very, very meaningful. So KShedd, Uncuffed, episode 15. We're going to wrap this up. Butch, anything you want to say to our listeners before you go?
Well, I'd like to say, I've been blessed to be in the Davis family for 37 years. When we first came here in 20, everything was closed down for 2 years, so everybody worked from home, even security. And so last year, Mark and Larry Delson would help me to say, hey, man, do you want to do some stuff? We got you. So do home games and stuff, but do you really want to keep working? And I've been blessed because Mark has treated me like gold, man. I mean, most sons in any business, when their daddy's gone, their uncle's gone, or grandpa's gone, they bring in their own people. That's what life is that way. And because it pays people cheaper, it's just how it works. To get younger people in, I get it. Mark kept me around for 8 more years. Mrs. Davis kept me around for 8 more years. So I've been blessed with the Davis family, and they continue to bless me today. And I just want to thank Mark Davis for what he's doing, Mrs. Davis for all the things she let me do. And people don't believe, but even at the end of Al, in his last days, would tell him, "But take care of my family, man. Take care of." Of course, you're going to say yes, Yeah. And I said, you're if you put it on paper, and most people in the position are not going to put nothing on paper. You don't feel like you're going anywhere. How sick you are. You know, you think coming out of it. So, you know, to this day, there's a lot of people, I don't believe that. I don't believe he did that for you. You don't know how many bills Mr. Davis paid for me. You know, because he knew that I wasn't getting the right, put in killer hours, and that he goes, I'm going to take care of you. And he would tell me, Butch, what do you need done? He would come at me that way. It wasn't that I had to go ask him, can you give me a loan? Can you help? I didn't ever have to do that with him. He took care of me. You make sure you're doing good. But my family hated it because I was never with them. I just wanted, you know, I appreciate the time and bringing me on, and it's just been a blessing to me. Even to this day, it's still a blessing.
Man, you look great, brother. You got a whole nother phase coming up, man. So get rest up. It's off season now, so that gives you a chance to kind of rest up. But once this thing gets going again, you're going to be needed in so many different directions. So thank you for honoring me with your presence today.
All right.
KShedd, y'all see it right here, man. The Raider Nation, once a Raider, always a Raider, just extends all over the place. And Mr. Butch is a prime example of that. And all these other NFL teams, man, you guys are, in my opinion, behind the curve when it comes to running an organization where you take care of your own, and it's continually striving for greatness. And that's what this team is trying to do. And we'll be back with you guys real soon. KShedd Uncuffed, out.